Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com and we'll take a look at them a little bit later on in the video. So Michael came to me with a really interesting idea. Build a Pandemonium deck list that is functional when you do not draw Pandemonium. So let's talk some theory for a second. A lot of times on this channel, I am asked to brew around what is most certainly an unreasonable card, right? And so I build a game one deck that can play the card, and the card will be good to reasonable if it is drawn. And then very frequently that card gets boarded out in the post sideboard games because it's just clearly the weakest card in the deck list. Michael was aware of this fact when they asked me to build around Pandemonium. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, that creature's controller may have it deal damage to its power equal to any target of their choice. And so they sent me this idea, build around Pandemonium. Here's what I think the starting point should be. And they sent me a mid-range deck that looked sort of like Painter's Servant, with value engines like Brea's Apprentice, which makes a Thopter when it comes into play, which is going to be relevant in a minute. And you can also sacrifice an artifact to either pump a creature or exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. And we're going to be able to copy that and other creatures with ETB triggers with Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, or more accurately, Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. So I took this idea in a couple of different directions. Michael originally said, like, hey, should we just play Phyrexian Dreadnought, which is a 12/12, and just, like, fetch it off Urza Saga and kill our opponent with that? And I started brewing with that, and I actually got rid of it because of a very specific reason. So when you play Urza Saga, your goal is play it, do something else with your mana that turn, activate it, search. Well, if I'm playing Urza Saga on like turn 1 or turn 2, I'm not ever actually going to curve that into Pandemonium. And I'm never going to get this dream of play Pandemonium, Urza Saga token, dome you, Urza Saga token, dome you, kill you with Phyrexian Dreadnought. And like that curve is just like not going to happen. So I cut that from the deck and opted instead to try to play something else that might create some very large creatures. And that's where I got the idea to kind of play Caves of Chaos Adventurer, which is totally reasonable in this Simian Spirit Guide Lotus Petal shell in the first place. Now, as far as the Undercity goes, a couple of the portions actually work really well with Pandemonium. You can make a 4/1 skeleton with this. You can use Throne of the Dead 3, the final thing, to search your library, or sorry, search the top 10 cards of your deck for a creature, and it enters with 3+1/+1 counters, which is a whole lot of damage. So with a Pandemonium, we could like play a Caves of Chaos Adventurer, dome our opponent for 5, put a couple of +1/+1 counters, attack our opponent with it, then drain our opponent for 5, and that's probably the game. And as the game goes long, we can also just copy our initiative creatures. And in addition to that, we also can weld artifacts in and out of play for value. So we can go and bring back some things like a Ruin Grinder, which is a 7/4 creature. Now, one of the problems that I had with this deck is I originally built it without the painters and the grindstones, and then I realized my artifact count was just too low, which very much matters for like the Urza Sagas and maybe the Karns that I want to play, as well as just for getting enough value out of like the Goblin Welders and Goblin Engineers for it to be worth it. So I did re-inject the Painter's Servant and Grindstone combo into the deck list, which will mill our opponent out. Originally, when I built the deck, I actually had Trailblazer's Torch in the main deck. It's an equipment that, when it enters the battlefield, you get to take the initiative. And since it's an artifact, we can weld it in and out of play repeatedly, which sounds really fun to me. Now, a couple quick thoughts on the sideboard, and then we'll just move to the primary game. I didn't really think that we were going to beat combo super consistently with this deck list, so I just kind of didn't try to beat everything. You'll notice there's not like Chalices or Trinispheres here. There's not the traditional Ensnaring Bridge that is often present in these deck lists. Instead, I've kind of focused I've decided I'm going to beat the graveyard-based combos, and I'm going to beat blue-based combos, and I can board in another Painter Servant to make these more reliable. But I'm not going to try to lock my opponents out of the game necessarily with Chalice. It just didn't feel like I had the slots to do that if I still wanted to fit all of this cool stuff in. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into a league and see how this crazy pile ends up doing. I feel confident enough to play a league with it, but I'm sure I'll learn a lot of things about deck building very quickly. If you're new here and you like what you see today, please consider subscribing, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It is the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Okay, round 1 opening hand has a welder and a painter, which is, like, not that bad. But I'm also not sure that this hand is a keep. My opponent usually plays, like, various stompy deck lists, and I'm not sure that this hand is going to be good versus stompy. I think I'm just going to ship this one despite having a reasonable mix of lands and spells and try to find something that's going to be a little bit objectively stronger. This hand is going to be a keep. I have to decide when I am playing the Urza Saga. I can just play it on turn 1 into City of Traders on turn 2. And, like, that can just be my plan for the hand. Really bad if my opponent is on Blood Moon today. I might slow roll it by 1 turn. I don't know that I'm supposed to slow roll it by a turn. Yeah, I think we're starting with Urza Saga hand. And just seeing if we can, air quotes, get a free one. I think if I don't start with this and my opponent just leads on an initiative creature, it's just going to be so hard for me to ever take the initiative. This way I at least have a chance. Okay. Yep, alright, that's why I played the Lotus Petal out on turn 1. Even though I, air quotes, didn't have to. The Simian Spirit Guide. That means I could play Great Furnace this turn. And play Great Furnace, activate with Simian Spirit Guide, and then activate with Lotus Petal afterwards, or vice versa. And then I don't lose City of Traders immediately. Yeah, I'm fine with doing that. I think I activate with Simian Spirit Guide first. Yeah. Okay, so this could be the, like, Eldrazi build. Activate with Spirit Guide first. This makes us a 3/3, which plays around Stomp specifically. So, I'll open myself up to Stomp, but I do think I am supposed to take the value off of this. Very awkward. Okay, cool. They didn't have it. Just really felt like Stomp or Punishing Fire was incredibly likely there. Retrofitter Foundry is now a great thing to do with my mana. I think I'm interested in that. And just going hard. Let's crash in for the 4. After no blocks. Go ahead and make my token. Turns it into 5 damage. Oh, my opponent fucked up. I had an opportunity where my construct was a 2/2 and my opponent missed it. That's actually very huge for me. Unless I'm just about to eat a Fiery Confluence for 3 artifacts. Okay, it is a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. So the initiative game now begins. This makes me... Ooh, they have basic wastes. Oh, that's hot. Yeah, they do have Thought-Knot Seers. Can't really play Pandemonium versus my opponent's deck. This is symmetrical. I don't remember if I mentioned that in the deck tech or not. Alright. Let's crash in. Make this creature 1 bigger. I'll deal 5 to my opponent, which means that I do take the initiative. Gets me a basic. I think I don't need City of Traders. I think it's better to start making natural land drops because of the initiative. Like, I have 4 of these in hand. Sorry, in play. Now, I can just lose the initiative to Reality Smasher here. So that's something that I need to keep in mind. Unlicensed Hearse is not bad, but my opponent is at 7. Ooh, it is another Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Sure. So now they get to go to the Forge for 2+1/+1 counters. Oh, wow, they're not. They're going to Scry 2. Let's see what I draw. I could use a little bit of help here. I really have a 5/5 construct token. And my opponent can have a 2/2 blocker. If I attack in with 2 creatures, I always take the initiative. And I can leave back Goblin Welder. That should be fine. Alternatively, I could attack with these two. Leave back my construct. That might be better. Yeah, that's probably better. Let's do that. All I'm trying to do is get to trap, which kills my opponent with 100% certainty. Alright, that's fine. Alright, so I take the initiative. I go to Forge. I forge this creature, putting it outside of easy trample range. And now all I have to do is hold the initiative until my opponent's turn. And I've got this. I don't mind throwing away the Goblin Welder when my opponent has active unlicensed hearse. Alright, there's the basic wastes that I knew they tutored for. Opponent has 3 mana. I also just have 3 creatures, assuming that I make one with Retrofitter Foundry, so I could probably go wide and kill my opponent as well. Yeah, okay, cool. GG. So, this game is gonna be interesting. I probably want all of this stuff, and maybe some of this stuff. Pithing Needle can go, Soul Guide Lantern can go. Both Pandemoniums have to go. That gives me the first 4 of these cards. And I can decide whether or not I want some of this other stuff. I probably want the Shadow Spear. That's probably important. Against unlicensed hearse, the Goblin Engineers become worse. So I'll probably board those out. Does that give me all of this? Give me all but one of those. Isn't bad. Look this by mana value here. A little heavy on the top end. Do I want to board out the Ruin Grinder? Like, is there any world in which it's acceptable to let my opponent draw 7, given how powerful their individual cards are? How much fast mana they have? Probably not. So, we're trying to play this. I can maybe combo you game, and I can try to take the initiative back game. Do I want blasts to try to play a stronger control role? It would be over Welders. Welders just, like, not that bad, though. Like, welding in and out Breo's Apprentice or welding in and out Trailblazer's Torch sounds kind of nice. Maybe the blasts are too slow on the draw, but maybe I play them on the play. This is a hand that's very similar to the last one. I play Urza Saga into City of Traders, intending on activating it a bunch of times, and I also just have, like, oops, I played an initiative card on turn 2 instead if I want. I think I keep this hand. I would throw this hand back if it didn't have both Fury and Simian Spirit Guide here, but that gives me a lot of flexibility. Ooh, another Fury. Okay, so I think I always need to lead on the Urza's Saga here, but I may or may not be making construct tokens immediately. I'm not willing to burn the Spirit Guide yet. Table's very good. Figure out how I want to respond to that. Another city. I can just go 4 mana Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I also just, like, can fetch Grindstone and kill my opponent pretty quickly. I can just kill my opponent with Painter Servant next turn without using Simian Spirit Guide. 3 mana to activate Grindstone, 2 mana to play Painter. Yeah, okay. So let's get this going. Maybe I'm supposed to play around Thought-Knots here, actually. Get this going, grab the basic land, Fury this token away, and be left with the superior board and a combo kill next turn. I don't know. This is bad versus Thought-Knots here. Maybe I should have just played out the Painter this turn. But that like telegraphs the kill. Whereas like after not showing Painter in game 1, maybe just fine. Alright, there's a Grove. Okay, it is their own Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I believe that means that they are dead. Like you can search for your land. And then outside of something like a Pyrokinesis, I think we're done here. Alright. Float a mana. Pick up Grindstone. Play a new city. Float the mana. Play Painter Servant. Everything's black. Grindstone target you. Okay, that wins the match. That was a really good juke. Like, my opponent expected to be facing down initiative mid-range, and then they got painted on. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. Moxfield is a deck building website for Magic the Gathering with a ton of functionality. And today I want to show you the tags. So a lot of times when you look at a deck list for, say, a commander deck list, you have some very large categories, but you might have some personal ways that you go and view these categories, like combo pieces, fast mana, humans, interaction, and you can actually sort these deck lists in a lot of way. So consider checking out Moxfield if this appeals to you. Okay, we're going to keep a very strong initiative hand here. It's not turbo. Like, we're just going to play turn 2 Brea's Apprentice into turns 3 and 4 Caves of Chaos Adventurers, and hope our opponent isn't playing an extremely fast combo deck. Opponent took 1 mulligan. See what we're facing down. Elves? Forest Pass is a little weird. I don't need that right now, although it could be cute later. What is Forest Pass? Is this... And it's not snow-covered, so it's not like this is a control deck that just kind of did a weird opener. Is something weird like Nick Fit? Eh? Something weird like Nick Fit. Okay, it is a bird. Alright, there's a Grindstone. Do I want to play Great Furnace out? I don't know that I need to yet. I don't know that I want to get red sources wastelanded as of right now. Oh, I guess I'm about to just get another one, but like my opponent could still, in theory, have some blue cards. Grab our mountain. This is bashing in for 3, and next turn is going to be horrifying for my opponent, because I'm going to get to tick the initiative up to Forge, and then post-combat I'll play a Caves of Chaos Adventurer and tick it up to Trap immediately. Playing against like some honest-to-goodness Maverick? Might be. I kind of think you're supposed to wait for the Forge trigger for that. That kind of seems like a misplay to me. Alright, opponent has a 2-2. I'm going to put this on the flyer. Just makes it cleaner for me to continue to just keep getting in. So my 2-3 can safely attack this turn. I'm just going to go ahead and keep the pressure up here. The pressure is going to disappear very quickly. Knight getting maze is pretty annoying. So let's trap our opponent. They go to 7. And I'll play out a Grindstone. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can play a Ruin Grinder on my turn. It's a little weird. I can no longer play a Ruin Grinder on my turn. Probably a Collector Oof. It is a Collector Oof. A little bit of a punish for playing out a Great Furnace, although I don't think that really matters. Alright. I get to draw a card with Archives. Pandemonium. I don't know that I can play this out against a Knight of the Reliquary deck. Am I attacking with Caves of Chaos Adventurer? It tramples. I get mazed. Leave back Brea's Apprentice. If my opponent fetches a fetch land, it can be a 5/5. Yeah, and the trigger here is valuable too. I think I will crash in with both. Okay, is this a play or cast? I forget. I may play that card. Okay, opponent protecting the life total here. Drop rotation is scary if my opponent has that in addition. There's a wasteland. Oh, they can wasteland themselves. That's a good line. So then they don't lose their knight. Okay. Do I want to play this card? Not really. I think I just want to accumulate some mana here, and I'll probably cycle Ruin Grinder. My opponent's in a pinch. Throne of the Dead 3 threatens to kill them. Literally or figuratively. But they have to attack with both creatures if they want to get in. Yeah. Alright, do I still want to cycle this to put this in my graveyard? I'm not really getting to 6 mana easily. I think I will go ahead and do that. Alright. So Throne of the Dead 3 happens, and this can be real big. Not real big. It does put both Painter and Grindstone into play, though. Welder's weird. It's like I'm facing down a Knight, I can get Bojuka Bog. I think I do get Painter. Everything's blue. Oh, I just drew a Welder. So I think I'm just attacking in with the Thopter this turn and seeing if my opponent has a maze. I don't really want to throw away the Brea's Apprentice for free. If my opponent gets a maze, they have no mana sources in play. I probably become favored under those conditions. Okay. This is, I presume, the maze. Yep. This is fine. So my opponent is dead on board if I can ever remove Collector Oof. And in the not too distant future, I do have some lines where I just play Pandemonium and then put Ruin Grinder back into play. And that kills my opponent. We might get an actual factual Pandemonium kill. I assume my opponent cannot attack here. And Pandemonium is conveniently 7 damage. Is dope. That's my last mountain. Okay, they're gonna concede there. Alright, let the record show that was a Pandemonium kill, though. Okay, so we are playing against some sort of Mavericky Depths type deck. Abzan colors from the look of things. We'll probably sideboard pretty similarly to how I did last round. Collector Oof makes it so that the Painter's Servant portion of the deck is less appealing, though, so I might end up boarding that out. Like, will I beat my opponent on mid-range beats? Kind of bad versus Merit Lodge. Versus the Knight of the Reliquary deck, I think this always has to come out. My first 2 cards I'm boarding in are these Karns. Large mid-range bodies seem important. Yeah, I wonder if against, like, Collector Oof and Force of Vigor, I'm just supposed to get rid of this. Play another Fury. Play Shadow Spear for mid-range stuff. Ooh, Trailblazers Torches. That leaves me just a touch short on playables, though, if I don't want to play these at all. And I switch this configuration. Yeah, I can probably do something like this, where I play like 2 Painters and 1 Grindstone, or maybe 3 Painters, 1 Grindstone, get rid of the Ruin Grinder. Like, Ruin Grindering makes Knight of the Reliquary so large. Definitely worried about that. Makes my Welders a little bit subpar. With a lot of Urza Saga tutor targets. Maybe I keep 2 Grindstones? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to hedge against Collector Oof. This hand does not have enough mana. Auto mulligan that. This hand's very good. I just play turn 1 Fable off of these. Turn 2 Ancient Tomb, Urza Saga, and start going. The Fury doesn't fit well here. My red cards are all accounted for. I think I get rid of that over the second Urza Saga. If I had 1 red card in hand, I would definitely keep the Urza Saga, though. That is costly, because I'm very light on graveyard-based stuff as of right now. Do we have a bird? We have a Mother of Runes. Okay, I mean, that's going to be good. Now I have a choice. I can start this initiative game early on. I think it's just better to lead on Fable, though. Because assuming that the token sticks around, the token makes the red mana that lets me play Caves of Chaos Adventurer on turn 2. Now, things can happen, right? Like Collector Oof can happen. Yep. That makes my treasure noticeably worse. Is unfortunate. So with a protected Collector Oof on board, Shadow Spear isn't good anymore. I don't have the mana to play Caves of Chaos Adventurer, despite the fact that it is a very good card since it tramples. I think I'm planning on winning with colorless cards. I don't know. Like, City is not really good right now. I guess it's good if Ancient Tomb gets wastelanded. Let's get rid of Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Alright. Let's start the Doomsday Clock. And by that, I mean, assuming I can get this Collector Oof out of play somehow, Painter Grindstone threatens to be a relatively fast kill. Let's continue to just name blue and bluff the fact that we do have Pyroclasms. Or not Pyroclasms, Pyroblasts. No need to make the attack this turn. Alright, Wasteland's good. We'll see which one of these they go after. Alright, they're going after the Saga directly. Losing my access to the treasure mana here was actually pretty huge. This Lotus Petal, for that matter. Alright. We have a realistic game plan, though. I don't need to play this Lotus Petal yet. It doesn't do me any good, and I'm not expecting Chalice or anything. I guess Thalia could happen. I guess in theory I can also just copy tokens with this, right? Just copy Urza Saga tokens. I can't find red mana for Brea's Apprentice. Another Wasteland would be rough. That's not that bad. Just realized a problem. I played out Painter Servant, which gives my colorless construct tokens a color. Huh. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Do I intentionally kill my own Painter Servant here? That's really weird. Goes away at beginning of the next end step, so I can... Oh, I'll just Pithing Needle Mother of Runes. It's not actually a problem. Yeah, that's not actually a problem. I just thought it was. Again, Wasteland is very good against me. This is a classic example of, like, keeping a hand that has hate cards for a matchup, but the hate cards not succeeding versus a mid-range plan that the deck also has. Okay, my opponent paused for a long time, which I'm hoping just means that they are AFK and not that they have Force of Vigor. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. We'll figure that out. So end of turn, I'll make an Urza Saga token. The 3/3. Am I just paying for this construct and then making another one here? Let my painter go. Let's make another shaman. I'm going to pay for this construct. Lotus Petal can go. The Painter's Servant can go. I want to take the initiative this turn. Basic land's definitely not bad. I don't think I want to take it this turn. Go ahead and do this Urza Saga thing. Now we'll Pithing Needle, Mother of Runes. Mother of Runes. I'm fine playing City of Traders here. Target construct token. Now they're both 4/4s. I attack with both of my ones that can attack. This turns them into 5/5s. If I'm willing to throw this away, I can turn them into 6/6s. I don't know that I'm willing to throw that away yet. So let's just assume 5/5s are fine. Opponent's got one free block. And they do one chump. That's fine. If I lose... Oh, I need to put those on the stack. That's fine. I think I've got kind of the superior board here. It can change quickly. Ooh. My opponent has drawn bangers as far as, like, top decks go. It's harder for me to use Reflection of Kiki-Jiki now. I have 5 total mana here. I need to use 2 of it to keep the construct tokens for sure. That's just a question of the rest of the stuff. I think I'm going to pay for everything. Alright, it did cost me 2 life to do that. I had to tap Ancient Tomb. Oh my god, a Fury. Alright, so I'm going to attack with 2 4/4s and see what my opponent does. I can turn into 3/3s if my opponent activates this. I kind of want to activate this targeting a construct, force my opponent to pop it on the one that I target, and then Fury away most of their board. They just don't know how good this Pithing Needle is right now. I don't know, maybe I can accomplish the same thing just by attacking with both of these, though. Game's very complicated. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to force my opponent's hand here. Oh wow, they just let it happen. So I can... Yeah, I'll do the Fury post-combat. Probably an attack all situation, just turn these into 6/6s. Alright. Because putting 1 damage on one of these creatures is super relevant. Ooh, they might throw away the mom here as well. Very nice. Oh wow, they're just going to take 12 damage. I'm good with that. Now the mom is gone, and this is going to be one of the most savage Furies of all time. So... I think I just leave them Outland Liberator and take everything else. Or no, it's 4 damage. Oof has got to go. Taki's got to go. Then the last one I Outland Liberator and just force them to crack it. What is it going at? Alright, one of the construct tokens. That's fine. So now I have 2 different lethal construct tokens. And my opponent has 1 card off the top of their deck. I can't see them getting out of this one. Alright, and after bantering with my opponent for a couple of minutes and talking about the match, we have the official concession, and we're 2-0. Okay, round 3, my hand just doesn't have enough mana here, so this one's an easy mulligan. Yes, this hand is a keep. I believe Painter's Servant is the worst card in this hand as of right now. I will have a little bit of trouble figuring out how to sequence this one. Okay, never mind, not anymore. Not versus Prismatic Vista. Versus Prismatic Vista, we're just going to kind of bait it, like bait an initial removal spell with Goblin Welder, and go from there. We don't need to go turbo with this hand. Okay, it has resolved. So we're probably playing against a control deck of some kind. Bant is relatively common right now. Turns out Uro is a reasonable magic card to build a deck around. But I've been seeing more Monastery Mentors and such around as well, so who knows? Okay. Given my last two draws, I am a little sad that I don't have the Painter in hand anymore. Goblin Welder's not good enough to force it will. Holy hell, this hand is tough. I'm gonna start by attacking with Goblin Welder, see if I can get my opponent to tap some mana and trade a 1/1 Sneaky Boy for it. Be totally fine with that. Oh. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. Play that Snaky Boy. Yeah, I would much rather this trade for a Goblin Welder now than for one of my air quotes real cards a little bit later. Alright. Am I fabling? If so, how? I think I'm fabling. It's just like awkward. Oh, okay, opponent doesn't have counterspells, so it's good to know. Anyway, it's just like awkward because like endurance is a thing that my opponent can reasonably have. And if I just attack this token into open green, it's super awkward for me. That previous turn was a turn that if I was testing for a serious tournament, I would have screenshotted that and spent like 20 minutes thinking through implications of lines. But I'm recording for a YouTube video with a deck that I will probably never play again, so I'll leave that to you in the comments. Timestamp that one if you want to talk about it, because it'll be about a week and a half before this hits YouTube. For me, anyway. Okay, a lot of thinking followed by a brainstorm. This means that I can't get Enduranced, which is very good for me. That was fast. Oh, I see. It's a shuffle situation. I think my opponent's probably dead if they miss this land drop. What the fuck? No shuffle and miss a land drop? What? Like, if you cast a show and tell and you just fucking kill me, like, that's cool. I'll accept this. Otherwise, I do not understand. I'm gonna get rid of Grindstone here. And probably Simian Spirit Guide. Lotus Petal is at least an artifact and does similar things. Alright. Those aren't fantastic. I get to attack, make a treasure token. Get my opponent to 17. Guess play around a Daze by playing Lotus Petal out. I don't need this City of Traders anymore. And I'm fine with showing this information before playing my card. This will be 4 mana for the Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Oh, it's Food Chain, I see. Am I interested in playing out a Welder? Not really. The red card in hand to pitch cast a Fury might be more important. Alright, I don't really understand my opponent's whole deal. Alright. Play out a Lotus Petal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have until after I attack. Oh, this is not hasty anyway. So let's go ahead and attack. This puts my opponent to 14. I don't have to hardcast this Fury, though it is worth 12 damage. I think it's just better to activate Urza's Saga. I keep the flexibility and not cast Goblin Welder. My Sven-Coatl is not that big of a deal. I have lethal or very close to it next turn. Okay, there's a land drop. So my opponent has fun things in exile that they can cast. Use some treasures to do this here. This is a 4/4. I guess I just keep ready by doing this. Food Chain can't be Pithing Guild, I believe. Gonna just double check the text on that. Yeah, that is a mana ability, so I'll probably just name Walking Ballista with a Pithing Needle here. And that just kind of shuts off one of the things that might randomly kill me. So if I copy a construct token, I will have 12 incoming power, not actually kill my opponent. Or no, I will have 14 power that will kill my opponent because of this thing. Alright. Kill Icefang Coatl. Go down one artifact to make another construct. So this is currently 12, but then I attack, get a treasure, which is +2 mana, meaning that my opponent is exactly dead. Okay, cool. I just think my opponent punted that game at some point. Probably their Brainstorm Ponder turn. Like, I don't care how good those cards are. Like, if you are going to be missing your land drops versus a deck that is putting as much pressure on you as an Urza Saga deck is, like, that had to be a shuffle. Okay. I don't really know what food chain deck lists look like right now, but I sure as hell am not going to make my opponent's combo kill easier. I will, like, reasonably keep these Pandemonium in for some matchups. Like, I really and truly will. But we have faced 3 creature decks in a row, so that's not happening there. How do I want to play this one? And by that I specifically mean, am I keeping the Painter's Servant combo in? I'm scared of Ruin Grindering my opponent here. I think that comes out. I think that is usually going to come out when the Pandemoniums come out as well. My opponent's going to have a decent number of flyers. I don't know if I want Trailblazer's Torch because of that. But assuming I do actually equip a Trailblazer's Torch, it does do good things for my blocks versus, like, Mist Hologriffins. Not super interested in Soul Guide Lantern. I think I'm going to be on, like, mid-range combo. Engineer seems mana intensive. This puts me at 60, but doesn't board in these 3 cards, which I do think are reasonable. Matchup can go long enough that I can absolutely do, like, Welder, Brea's Apprentice shenanigans that I haven't gotten up to yet. I just wonder if Karn constructs are just better. The answer is probably no when I'm on the draw, and yes when I'm on the play. My last question is, do I want this Shadow Spear as a target? I'll trim 1 Welder for the Shadow Spear. Like, 3/3 Griffin beats are real. Yes. Yes, I will keep this hand. This is probably turn 1 Fable. Wow, this hand is real good. This is probably turn 1 Fable, because that helps to fix 4 red mana in the future. If I blow both Simian Spirit Guides on turn 1 Caves of Chaos Adventurer, that play wins if it resolves, and I have 0 red mana if it doesn't happen. Whereas this way, I can play turn 2 Urza Saga and Simian Spirit Guide in a Caves of Chaos Adventurer, which will be a little bad versus Icefang Coatl, but they'll need more follow-up than just that. Alright, Urza Saga. What did they pitch, by the way? I have to like really check that in this matchup, because Icefang Coatl is real and Mist Hollow Griffin is even realer. Nice. So they could have a second Icefang Coatl, and, like, I could lose the initiative immediately, but I'll take it back with my own Caves of Chaos Adventurer next turn. So, like, that's okay. Well, assuming I don't just want to, like, activate Urza Saga a couple times, which I might want to do. Alright. So it's not a white source immediately. That probably means it's blue. Do you have a second Ice Fang? Do have a second Ice Fang. That's potentially okay. If another removal spell gets involved here, it becomes less okay. I didn't see white from my opponent last game. I only saw blue-green, I believe. Alright. You can take the initiative. You get a basic land. Okay, they do have the plains. I guess the next question is, do you have a Swords to Plowshares? You've got some Griffins. Alright. So, in case you're not familiar with this deck, because it's relatively uncommon, when they play a Manipulate Fate, they get 3 cards into play that can be played from exile. So, Manipulate Fate is like a draw 4. It's very strong. Ooh. An interesting draw. I want to take the initiative back, but I also want to get massive Urza Saga value. I think I need to play my Caves of Chaos Adventurer here. Alright. If I take the initiative, We'll go to the Forge. We'll put some +1/+1 counters on this. And my opponent can attack to take the initiative. Put some +1/+1 counters on this creature. But I can Red Elemental Blast the blocker that they're potentially going to play. I do get a little bit punished here if they just, like, play Food Chain and combo me off this turn, but I'm trying to set up a situation in which I win the game in a reasonable period of time versus a mid-range situation, which is, I think, what we're in right now. They're going for the Scry. But this is just 12 theoretical damage. I think I've got to go for it. Oh, shit. Yeah, so if I had done the Urza Saga line, I get to Food Chain this in response here. Okay, so my opponent doesn't have a kill. They've got an Uro. It'll be real good. But I can beat that. So I'm going to let them do their thing here. I guess I should zoom in on Food Chain for those of you who haven't seen it before, actually. So you can exile a creature to get 1 plus its mana value worth of mana. So since you can keep playing these things infinitely from exile, you get a lot of value. So my opponent's going to end the turn with 2 Mist Hollow Griffins, an Eternal Scourge, and an Uro in play. Okay, so they cast the Uro for the first time here. Go up to 20, they get another land. And they have exactly 5 cards in graveyard right now. Oh, they have Uro Caracas. That now means that my opponent... Oh, that's a choice. They just sacked Uro for mana rather than rebuying it with Caracas to get an extra card there. And now this is in exile instead of in their graveyard, so they can't replay it. Okay, they have a second Uro, which is why they made that decision. Sure. Okay, so now they bounce it once. They get a rebuy. Okay, now they replay the Uro. Get another land out of it. And this time around, they will kind of have that stick in play. Okay, I walked away from my computer for a little while, used the restroom. Let's see. My opponent ended up with an Uro in play. Couple cards left in graveyard. Brea's Apprentice as my draw. 7/5 Trampler. Supposed to just give it lifelink. Trample here is pretty good. Alright. Let's activate this. Shadow Spear. Seems good. Shadow Spear seems good. Let's equip this. And I think I just go for the attack without Red Elemental blasting first. A little bit riskier, but I end up getting a blowout more often. Okay. Not need Ancient Tomb there. Okay, cool. This is what I was going for. So now I blast the Uro. Oh, come on. Why did it have to be Force of Will plus blue card? Alright. Like, there was some degree of risk there, but that was very strong if it worked. And seeing as my opponent has essentially immortal threats right now, including Uro, I think I've got to take the high-risk line there. There's a lot of times that I just die in roughly 3 hits to these creatures. Opponent only has 4 cards in graveyard. They actually can't bring the Uro back this turn. Prismatic Ending on my Shadow Spear? Prismatic Ending on my token. Sure, that's fine. Very good. Now that's a 5th card in graveyard for Uro, which is unfortunate for me. I think I probably win this one if my opponent doesn't have the Force of Will plus blue card. Like, I whack my opponent for a large amount of damage, kill one of the Griffins, gain a whole bunch of life. Alright. Current situation, not great. This makes a Thopter, is a very relevant type with Retrofitter Foundry. I think this is worth using my Petal for. Save the life. And at this point, I think I'm mining my opponent's clock. Like, my opponent is down more than 5 minutes one time here. And I think every second counts if they have to combo off a second time in a game 3 scenario. Yeah, cantrip away. If I were the opponent here, I would just be attack everything past turn as quickly as possible. Opponent says now they have the kill. I don't think I concede to it here. They're so far down on clock. Let's block with that. Sacrifice my Thopter to make a 4/4. Take the damage. They're making a lot of mana. This is just going to be a walking ballista for a large number. Yep. So this murders me very quickly. And at this point, opponent doesn't have to play around anything. I'm just dead. But I will not give them the satisfaction of killing me. Take myself out. Okay. I was thinking that Karn was more reasonable on the play. Still kind of feel that way. I'm just not sure what I'm supposed to cut for them. My welders haven't been great. My opponent's still answering them. I get Soul Guide Lantern to help out with Uro, but I already have a whole bunch of blasts that do that. What if I just don't play Welder? And I play these 3 cards? I guess I'm not worried about my opponent's interaction. I'm worried about their combo. My answer to their combo is kill them. I think this hand is a trap. Like, it's highly interactive, but it doesn't actually do anything. This hand goldfishes very quickly. I think this is a keep. Get rid of the pedal and play this a little slower. I probably get rid of the pedal and play this just a little bit slower. So, turn 1. Let's just Pithing Needle Walking Ballista now. I also don't think it would be crazy to just needle a fetch land in the dark here and just try to disrupt my opponent early. Like, just name Misty or something like that. But I think that's too risky. Yeah, cantrip away. By the way, if you're wondering why I don't play Food Chain on the channel, it's this. Is a lot of clicks that don't necessarily go anywhere quickly. Alright, let's Painter Servant. Everything is blue for the purposes of my blasts. So that does make Force of Will better for my opponent. Okay. Swords to Plowshares. That's fine. I don't think that needed to be necessarily done at instant speed there. And we're just now on the Urza Saga construct game in the short to medium term. Is an okay place to be. Not a great one. Okay, no green mana for my opponent yet. But they have found a very potent draw spell. And it's the same 3 as before. Yep. Let's make my construct. That's a Fable. Don't super care about that as of right now. Let's search. I have another search coming next turn. I think this first one is getting me Retrofitter Foundry. I'll battle on in for 4 points of damage. And I would like to draw more mana off the top. Oh, that's annoying. I would like to draw more mana off the top. I would love to activate Retrofitter Foundry. And also play Soul Guide Lantern in the same turn cycle. Okay. Lost that option. Now I've got a 2/2 in play versus my opponent's Eternal Scourge. Awkward. That means this is floating mana. Probably getting a Lotus Petal. And this probably has to play Fable. I can absolutely... can't catch a break here. Yeah, my opponent having Swords, Force of Will, as well as a draw 4. Jesus, okay. Yeah, so my opponent is just going to hit me for 3, then 7, then 11. That's very unfortunate. Okay. So I'll use my mana how I can here. It doesn't really matter what I get rid of. I don't think for any reason. I'll get rid of a land in case there's a random life from the loam. Okay, sure. Yep. So I get 2 more turns. There's an Ancient Tomb. Can I reasonably play out Caves of Chaos Adventurer and win this game? I honestly probably don't have a choice. I just have to see if I can make this work out somehow. With the Shadow Spear in play, there's a good chance that I can make it work out. It's just very tough. Alright. Winning on clock is probably not realistic here. It's over in 2 turns one way or another. How many of these is my opponent attacking with? Oh, fuck, that's bad. Can't block. I just have to equip this thing with Shadow Spear. They take the initiative to get a basic land. My Nightmare world is the world in which they have drawn Food Chain, because then they get to just untap all of these. Alright. They revealed Snow-Covered Forest and then didn't play it. Come on. Okay. There is 9 incoming damage. How can I win? 10 damage is easy. 10 damage is attack, take initiative, play Chaos Adventurer, trap. First 10 is very easy. I only take 6 if I have a Caves of Chaos Adventurer back to block. Or, I guess if I have a creature back to block. But my turn actually probably involves playing Brea's Apprentice off of Triple Mountain. That's 2 blockers, and I'm not dead next turn, and then I can try to kill the following turn. Okay. Let's crash in, see what I get here. Urza Saga, that's really good. Alright. Opponent goes to 10. I think I'm still forging this. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 total mana. I do not want to tap Ancient Tomb. So let's play Urza Saga. Play Brea's Apprentice. Lose the Hardcast Force of Will. Okay, did not lose to Hardcast Force of Will. That's kind of the first time that I've gotten a break here. Okay. You're just deck thinning. Alright, you are just deck thinning. I need to deal 4 points of damage next turn to kill my opponent. They are swinging in with everything. They can cast a Walking Ballista for X equals 3. And if I only block one of these, I die to that. If I block 2 of these, I don't die to that. I have a Walking Ballista for X equals 3. Can trample over for 4 points of damage. And then they are dead with Trap. What if they drew Food Chain? If they draw Food Chain, they untap all of these. They have 9. 9's a really awkward number for me. I'll block multiples here. Not sure if that's correct, but it plays around a card that I know is in my opponent's deck. So they are forging. Block Hydroblast, that's very good. I lose to that. Shit. Alright. If I had red mana open, I could have cycled into that. So now I'm just dead to Trap. I can kill a Griffin. How can I win? 5 points of damage is easy. Oh, I was an idiot. I have Pithing Needle on Walking Ballista. Didn't have to play around that. Not that I think it matters. I have a 2-3 in play. It's still 7 points of damage, not 9. Alright, I'm going all in. Let's cycle this draw card and see if I can make something out of this. Holy shit. That keeps me alive. But I can't take the initiative as well. Initiative kills me. So, I guess the plan is see if opponent messes up. It seems like there's no way that they can. All they have to do is attack with all 3 of their creatures, and I die to Forge. Yeah, so I blast 1, block 1, die to Trap. I'll make them do it. Alright, I will concede there. That's disappointing. GG's. This was one of those times where my opponent had the perfect, right? Like swords, force, and a draw 4. GG's. Okay, this is round 4. We're 2-1. This is a hand that Goblin Welders into Ruin Grinder very quickly. I think I'm going to keep this and see where this hand goes. Like, that's just something that I can do on turn 2. Yeah. 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 And since the plan is basically always Ruin Grinder, I think I just throw this on Wasteland immediately. Planning for the future. Okay. Spirit Guide. Double Spirit Guide. Triple Spirit Guide. Okay. I mean, sometimes you have a triple Spirit Guide start. Folks, did you get the memo that the initiative was... Okay. Okay. So, am I supposed to cycle Ruin Grinder to 100% hit my own Caves of Chaos Adventurer next turn? Or am I just supposed to play Brea's Apprentice so that I can 100% take the initiative next turn? I think I tried a high roll here. I think my situation is incredibly bad since my opponent had more free cards. Like, my opponent essentially had 3 free Lotus Petals in this form of the Spirit Guides, and then Fury plus another red card. Like, that's a lot. It's possible they won't really have another follow-up thing to do for quite some time. Although Caves of Chaos Adventure. What the fuck is a Phyrexian Dragon Engine? When it enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. Huh, that should be in this deck. Okay. Got Unearth too. Neat. Yeah, okay. I wish I knew about that card. That should be in here. Urza's Saga. Not bad. Let's play that out. I'll crash in for 3. This gives me the initiative. I get a basic land. Oh. One more click. Second main phase. I play Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Allows me to go to the Forge. So this is 5 toughness, so it already trades with my Cave of Chaos Adventurer. Because of that, I'm just going to put this on like my Thopter and hope my opponent doesn't have another Fury plus red card. Yep. Another Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Now this does give my opponent the initiative, unfortunately. I go to 5. Oh fuck, I go to 5. That was stupid. Trap. When I did my line, I wasn't accounting for my Ancient Tomb damage. I needed to leave back one other creature. Okay, I just punted that one. That's fine. Like, my opponent's start was incredibly strong. Alright. Pandemonium, you're not happening. My opponent has Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Ruin Grinder is not gonna work. Pithing Needle's not great. Goblin Engineer is slow. Am I doing this? Put out one Welder? Like, do I need to play the Pyroblasts as a removal spell? Like, Soul Guide Lantern is not something that I want in my deck either. I can play a couple of Welders or Engineers. One random Blast is probably better. I don't think I want Ley Lines. I think my opponent is going to be the more aggressive version of what I'm doing. Turn 1, City Spirit Guide, Fable. Turn 2, Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Slightly awkward, but probably a keep. Alright. Just like we wrote it up. This is admittedly very bad versus like a Fury on my token here. But I don't think I have a lot of choice in the matter. Okay, there is a dead. That's very awkward for me. Now I can't get to Caves of Chaos Adventurer easily. Get rid of Pyroblast and probably Grindstone. Still, well, actually City of Traders is really bad here too. Second one, but I still think I get rid of Grindstone. Kappa. Alright, Painter Servant. I have gotten rid of my one Pyroblast. Everything doesn't need to be red now. I'm just going to pick a different color so that my opponent's Furies don't get better. Alright, everything's black. Play out a Mountain. Oh, it's super awkward that I discarded the Grindstone. But I want to keep the city in case I have to lose the city. It's just like super unfortunate that I drew both another city and a Grindstone at the same time. It's okay. Like, I can draw an Urza Saga and find the other Grindstone or so. Oh, that's really good. Okay, things are going to be alright. So, let's do a little love tap for 1. Opponent goes to 19. And I've got a Welder. Welder represents Grindstone. Although, a little bit of a circuitous route to get to where I need to go. Fuck me. Okay. Goodbye, everything. So, 2 mana. Lose a city. Play a Caves of Chaos Adventurer, which gets me a basic land. And I hope that I can spiral this out of control. If my opponent has double removal spell into an initiative creature of their own, I think they win this one, unless I draw like a Lotus Petal or something to get my Fury into... Fuck. Forge is not optional, right? Yeah, we're going to the Lost Well. I get to Scry 2. Retrofitter Foundry stops me from losing the initiative. I think that's good enough for right now. I'll play that, and I make a chump blocker for Fury. I'm on the wrong side of the equation right now, though. I'm also pretty soft to a removal spell right now. You know, be it another Dead Gone or a Bone Crusher or whatever. Yeah. Okay, I'm just dead here. Like, my opponent is going to deal me 6. They get another land drop. I'm taking 11 onboard damage in the next turn cycle. Okay. And you have a Caves of Chaos adventure. Ah, that's that's brutal. I will concede. GG's. Not happening. Alright, final round here. How is this opening hand? Turn 1, Mountain, Welder. Turn 2, Fable into Breas. Assuming I hit a land drop, that's fine. It's not exciting, but it's fine. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and play out the Lotus Petal now in case some sort of Granisphere Thalia nonsense happens. Alright, that's an awfully nice plains. And we're chilling. So do I want to weld immediately? Could weld Lotus Petal back into play if I wanted. Some loops going. Play Mountain over Great Furnace here though. Alright. Freya's Apprentice happens. I think I just leave up Welder. Probably an initiative deck. Another initiative deck, I have to board out Pandemonium. Like, the opposing creatures are just too big. Oh, it might just be 60 card D&T. This has to target the Welder. That's fine. I guess it could still... sure. That seems very expensive to me. So we are playing against an initiative deck, I think. Just a weird looking one. So let's hit with a 1/1 flyer. Pandemonium is a dead card, I'll loot it away. I'm also probably looting away the City of Traders in an attempt to just get deeper into my deck. I'm not sure if I trade with Solitude if my opponent attacks. Alright, what sort of weirdo creature type is this going on? Just human. Yes. Absolutely. Please take a turn to do that. Alright, my opponent is staying on the defensive. Ruin Grinder. I think I get rid of Pandemonium and Ruin Grinder in an attempt to find an initiative card and play it this turn. Fail. The fail case isn't that bad, though. Goblin Engineer and copying it is pretty interesting. I think I see if my opponent wants to trade here. Didn't want multiple City of Traders. Okay, they're letting me keep this, which I'm not sure whether or not that's a good idea without knowing what their deck looks like. Alright, what am I putting into my graveyard? Probably just Brea's Apprentice. Just get that value train going rather than go for any sort of combo nonsense. Alright. We haven't gotten this whole Brea's Apprentice, Goblin Engineer thing going throughout most of the league. We might get it going now. Alright, yeah, you can attack with your Solitude. This is fine. In combat damage? Okay. So now you can remove my Goblin Engineer. And that's annoying, but not the end of the world. Okay. Do I attack with this? I probably don't attack with this. I probably now keep this to copy. My loot's being a bit of a whiff is annoying here. But the position's not really that bad. Like, if these were threats that were still on board, I think I'm much more scared. Alright. So this initiative game is going to begin. And I can take the initiative every single turn with this Thopter. So, see where this goes. Urza Saga. Totally fine with that as a draw. Make very large construct tokens. So I should attack for 1 with the Thopter, and then leave back the ability to copy this token. That makes my combats much better. Alright. Gonna be a bit of a grind, but I don't think it's going in my opponent's favor. And I'm fine just losing this land. I don't even need to float the mana here. Now, if my opponent has an instant speed removal spell that takes out like this token in response to me copying something, could be annoying. Oh, okay. That's annoying. I don't think my opponent was supposed to do that pre-combat. Supposed to let them take this? Copy Goblin Shamans? This getting lifelink is annoying. I don't know that I can race my opponent with like my Constructs plus Shadowspear if I don't take out Solitude right now. Not the biggest fan of this. I think just the 1 block think I let my opponent take the initiative. Try to reasonably beat it later in some other capacity. Oh wow, they're going for this scry. That is not what I would have done from their position. I think just going to trap is just so good with 8. Why is Solitude not dead? Right. Forgot about that part. Okay, that's why my opponent did it pre-combat. I figured it out. Pandemonium. Not great right now. Or is it? I do have Reflection of Kiki-Jiki? Huh. 1. Indestructible until next turn, though? Ugh. So if I play City of Traders, play Pandemonium, sacrifice treasure token, I get to shoot 3 damage at something. Pandemonium is like so close to just cracking this game wide open. I just play Pandemonium and pass? Yeah. Alright. Let's see if I can make this work. I'm 1 mana away from doing really disgusting things. The scary part is if my opponent has an initiative creature as the top card of their library right now, and they did just scry, like my Pandemonium might backfire. But I think I'm... What are you doing? Goad is not really gonna do anything. Sure. Okay, that's rough. That's effectively a double removal spell. This targets my reflection, which means if I want to use my reflection, this is the time. I think my plan is make very large Urza Saga construct tokens, though, so I don't think I do this. This is why I needed 1 more mana. I needed the mana to Urza Saga while also doing a copy. I was just short of that. But throwing away this token doesn't seem good. Now there's Initiative and Monarch on the line. So I will just take all of that damage. I will make a 3/3 token for the purposes of Pandemonium. My opponent's going to get a card here. Alright. Oh, right, I lost my other token, so this is now a 2/2. Really wanted to kill White Plume. I guess I'm killing Solitude instead. Alright, take your card. I really could use a live top deck here. I'll count that. This is now a source of 3 damage. Take out White Plume. I can do so cleanly. Yes. Search for Shadow Spear. Oh my god, I don't have Shadow Spear in game 1! Search for Retrofitter Foundry then? Shit. And not having that Shadow Spear is costly. Right. So how much mana is this? 2, then 3, then no. My plan becomes kill my opponent next turn. I can throw 1 mana anywhere, or 1 damage anywhere at instant speed. That's neat. Am I attacking with this shaman? I am attacking with this shaman. Okay. So let's send on in with that. Becomes a 5/5. Right, my opponent's going to go ahead and chump. That's acceptable. Now I can play Urza Saga. Don't need the City of Traders. 2 damage marked on there. I don't need any more damage marked on there. Not successfully take the initiative. Oh, fuck. Catacombs kills me. They just send it at my face. Yeah, so I do 2 mana, make a Thopter, 3 mana untap, 1 mana short of making a blocker. Okay. So close here. Yeah, I just can't play Pandemonium in these initiative mirrors. I was like 1 mana short from winning on a couple of fronts, despite having to play out that Pandemonium. Shadowsphere, why weren't you in the deck for me? But I needed you. Alright. Needle out, Lantern out, 2 mana Pandemonium out. I think Ruin Grinder can't be played in an initiative mirror. That gets me Fury and these 4 cards. I still need these 2, I think. I think I just need to have that backdoor Grindstone win. My opponent is going to be the better initiative deck than I am. And I think that means boarding out these engineers. Pandemonium was interesting, though. I will give it that. I make an initiative card on turn 2, and then I follow it up with double Urza Saga. Probably good enough that it is not worth mulliganing. This is perhaps not my ideal hand. It's like my opponent is just going to take the initiative back, and in some worlds they take it on turn 1 if they have fast mana plus Ancient Tomb. Fuck me. So this is going to make my Caves of Chaos Adventurer cost 2 more to cast, effectively putting me on a 0-card hand, which is super awkward. Actually, they could name Urza Saga with this. My Urza Sagas are very bad. And they're going for Caves of Chaos Adventurer, though. That's a very good draw. Like Urza Saga here. And do that. Off Lotus Petal, I think. Alright. Let's force our opponent to beat a giant pile of construct tokens. It'll be doable, but not easy. Seasoned Dungeoneer would be really rough right now, because then like I can't ever block. My opponent's stuff will scale up pretty quickly. Yep, there it is. So they get their basic land. And I'm eating 3 damage from Mox, sure. They kind of fix their draws while doing that as well. Yeah, this is rough. So I'm definitely using this ability. I'm not interested in City. And this costing 6 mana is, I think, not reasonable this game. I'm just going to bin that. Okay, we're going to win with Grindstone this game. So next turn, I need 3 mana to activate Grindstone, and 2 mana to cast Painter's Servant. I very easily have that much mana right now. I can just do it all next turn, and just also make Urza Saga Construct this turn. Thinking about whether or not I throw this body away to just have an extra mana just in case next turn. I can die next turn in some worlds. Maybe that means I want this as a blocker, although this is a blocker. Another Anointed Peacekeeper would be scary. Another initiative card would be scary. I just hold it back as an extra body. Like Great Furnace. Although I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to play the Painter this turn. Although Anointed Peacekeeper is just good either way. Alright. Yeah, this is spooky. Alright, so this gets protection from creatures, so it is hitting in there. Another Anointed Peacekeeper. Okay, so that's still on top of their library. So that's good, because I lose to that card. So, quick check. If I tap Ancient Tomb once, and my opponent can flicker an initiative card to get Trap, I'm dead. So it doesn't matter if I tap it twice, because I always have to tap it at least once anyway. So I will make the Construct token be respectively sized. Load of mana. Grab Grindstone. 2 mana. Play out Painter's Servant. Things blue. Have 3 mana at instant speed, very easily. I guess I'm just dead if they have anything. Not much I can do to stop that. So it doesn't matter when I go for this. Like, if you have a removal spell, you have the removal spell. I die to Trap. Regardless. So do you have it? Seems like they have Solitude. Yep. That'll do. And this has Summoning Sickness, so I can't copy my Painter. And I didn't have time to kind of set that up. And Seasoned Dungeoneer would have made my blocks bad, so I couldn't just take the initiative there. Alright. I will concede to that. GG's. Alright, so why don't we take a minute to do a recap here. We went 2-3, and I think the overall thoughts I have on the deck list are relatively positive. I will say that I think if I recorded this video a week ago, I would have crushed with this deck. But I think it's not quite good enough in initiative mirrors and pseudo mirrors to be good. I think the general deck building principles here are pretty strong. Like, the Painter Grindstone combo gave us multiple backdoor wins. That was pretty good. The initiative, as well as like just this value-oriented like plan of copy Urza Saga tokens or copy Breya's initiative was good. But like as far as cuts go, we knew from the beginning that the Pandemonium was going to be the cute card. And I think since we played against just so many creature decks where like I just couldn't give my opponent that removal, or it would be picking off like all of my value-oriented creatures, I think because of that, like Pandemonium looked worse than it otherwise might have been. But if you want to explore this deck list further, I think you cut these 5 cards and explore these slots a little bit more. Maybe play another Fury, maybe a 4th Painter, maybe a 3rd Grindstone, kind of go in that general direction. Like, maybe you can consider playing a Chrome Mox or something because of how good, like, these are. But generally speaking, I did feel like this deck played very good games of Magic. I didn't get to do some of the cute stuff throughout this league. Like, I conceptually thought about, like, welding Trailblazer's Torch in and out, but we played against a lot of pressure since we played against so many initiative decks. I still boarded this in just about every round, though, so, like, maybe that's telling for how good the initiative mechanic is. Generally speaking, despite going 2-3, like, this general idea gets a thumbs up from me, although, like, maybe not so much with the Pandemonium. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave me a like on the way out. It helps out a lot. Feel free to complain about the initiative or praise the initiative, whatever you think about it in the comments. Have a great rest of the day. See ya.